care about grandstanding. You don't care about what the actual victim says.
What you heard, you with that? You with a 17-year-old and a grown-ass man.
Adam22 and Wack 100 were in a heated argument during a podcast in the studio. Everyone saw the video at the time, but no one saw what happened later when they stepped out. Things escalated quickly, and a video of their fight is currently circulating on Reddit. The footage. Before we dive into the latest video of Adam22 and Wack 100 fighting, let's take a trip down memory lane and go back to the outburst that caused everything. In December 2024, a video began circulating on social media showing a violent altercation outside the No Jumper studio in Burbank, California. The footage, roughly 3 minutes long and shot from a distance, showed two groups meeting in a parking lot before the situation turned physical. From the opening seconds of the video, the two groups can be seen in conversation. No punches are thrown yet. The tension in the frame is visible, but nothing has escalated. At one point, a punch is thrown. The target, later identified as a man named Jermel Reed, goes to the ground. Several others move in immediately, delivering repeated blows. Reed is rendered unconscious. Reed is stripped completely naked. Cash, jewelry, clothing, and other valuables, estimated at over $10,000, are taken from him. The footage ends as the attackers scatter, with voices audible in the background warning of potential witnesses. The video went up over the December 2024 weekend on platforms including X, Reddit, and Instagram. On Reddit's ERR, Cali Banging, and ER No Jumper, threads broke down the footage frame by frame. The grainy quality of the clip caused immediate confusion. Multiple users noted that the victim, a bald, stocky man, resembled Wack 100 in build and appearance. That misidentification is what turned the clip from a local incident into a viral event, with headlines spreading under titles like Wack 100 Gets Battered. On December 30th, 2024, Adam22 addressed the footage directly. He stated he had left the studio to see his daughter and only learned about the fight from a clip an employee sent him roughly 10 minutes after it happened. He confirmed the man in the footage was not Wack 100, and he condemned the violence outright, telling his audience that anyone who brought that kind of energy to his office was permanently done. What made the footage resurface in early 2026 was a set of extended clips that leaked online, showing additional angles from nearby surveillance. These new angles called into question the degree to which Wack 100 had been a passive bystander versus an active participant in the assault. That question, bystander or participant, became the focus of the second wave of conversation about the footage, landing right alongside Adam22's boxing loss to Jason Love in January 2026, which put both men back in the public eye simultaneously. The two events had nothing to do with each other directly, but their timing meant the internet was consuming both stories at once, and the conversation about each kept pulling the other one back in. Adam22 elaborated on the timeline in a Vlad TV interview in early 2025. He described running into Reed and an associate outside the studio shortly after a podcast session wrapped. He shook hands with them, assumed they were there to see Wack, and drove off. The brawl started almost immediately after he left. The footage of it was leaked the following day. According to Wack 100's own account in a Vlad TV sit-down, Reed and an associate had shown up to the studio making noise, calling Adam22 a culture vulture and drawing the attention of Loose Cannon, a rapper in Wack's circle. Wack described Cannon as having a prior history with Reed from their time in the prison system. In Wack's telling, the fight was personal to Cannon, and Wack stepped back rather than escalate. Loose Cannon, real name Tremaine Ashley Williams, was at the time already facing federal RICO charges for extortion and carried an affiliation with the Rollin 60s neighborhood Crips. His involvement moved the incident beyond a dispute between individuals and into territory involving federal investigations, gang affiliations, and a legal exposure that would eventually land directly on Adam22's desk. The players. To understand why this footage hit the way it did, you have to understand who these people are and what they represent inside hip-hop media. Adam John Grand Maison, Adam22, built No Jumper from a BMX blog into one of the most watched interview platforms in hip-hop. Launched in 2011, the channel became a destination for raw, unscripted conversations with artists, managers, and industry figures who wouldn't sit with mainstream press. By the mid-2010s, it had millions of subscribers and a reputation for going places other outlets avoided. That reputation came with costs. In 2018, sexual misconduct allegations surfaced and led to the dissolution of his deal with Atlantic Records for No Jumper Records. He moved on. By 2023, his marriage to adult film actress Lena the Plug had become tabloid material. After a widely mocked public arrangement drew ridicule across every corner of the internet. He moved on from that too, turning the noise into content. Adam22's model has always been the same. The controversy is the content. His ability to stay in the conversation, even when the conversation conversation is about how badly things have gone for him is what has kept No Jumper relevant. The Burbank studio became a physical symbol of that approach, a place where the line between interview and incident was deliberately thin. Cash Jones, Wack 100, has operated in West Coast hip-hop for decades. Born in 1975 in Pacoima, California, he built his name managing artists including The Game, Blueface, and Ray J. His public-facing persona is that of a man who speaks directly, holds his ground, and carries the credibility of the streets into every room he enters. His affiliations with the Bloods and his willingness to discuss those affiliations on camera made him a natural fit for a platform like No Jumper. Wack 100's relationship with Adam22 is best described as a working alliance with constant friction underneath it. They co-hosted episodes, they argued on air, they brought each other viewers, and they held each other at a distance that was, depending on the moment, either professional caution or genuine distrust. That friction became visible in the aftermath of the December 2024 footage. Wack posted a video addressed directly to Adam22, calling him out for communicating through a publicist rather than man to man. He referenced their contract, he referenced the lawsuit, and he made clear that he considered Adam's attempt to distance himself from the incident and from Wack a form of disloyalty. The man at the center of the footage, Jermel Reed, arrived at the No Jumper studio that day with a grievance. What exactly that grievance was has never been stated clearly on record. Accounts reference prior business dealings and street beefs without specifics. What is on record is what happened to him: a broken nose, bruised eyes, a concussion, and over $10,000 in stolen property. Reed's account of that day and the accounts of Wack 100 and Adam22 tell different stories about who started what and why. Adam22 said Reed was a gang member who was unlikely to bring law enforcement into it. Wack 100 said Reed came to the studio talking recklessly, and that what happened was a consequence of that. Reed's lawsuit told a third version, that he was a victim of violence at a premises that had no business hosting the people it hosted. All three of those versions circulated online simultaneously, which is part of what kept the story alive for months. There was no clean narrative. The footage was grainy, the accounts conflicted, and the platform that connected all of them, No Jumper, kept producing new content that brought people back to the same names, the same faces, and the same unresolved questions. The transcript from a reaction video in early 2026 captured the ongoing public uncertainty around who had really done what. In it, a commentator broke down the fight's connection to Adam22's boxing match with Jason Love, weaving it into a broader argument about what the footage said about Adam22's position in the culture.
Adam22, if you ain't noticed, bro, you getting your put on to the culture.
The idea being built in reaction spaces was that, for Adam22, every public humiliation was a toll for the table he'd chosen to sit at.
First, you gotta let your wife get smashed. Then you gotta fight the guy who smashed your wife.
Whether people agreed with that framing or not, it was the frame the internet was applying, and every new development in the Adam22 and Wack 100 story got filtered through it. The lawsuit and the legal fallout. In August 2025, Jermel Reed filed a lawsuit. The defendants were Adam22 and his company, White Pickle LLC, not Wack 100, not Loose Cannon, Adam22. The legal filing alleged negligence. Reed's argument was not simply that he had been attacked outside a building. His argument was that Adam22, as the operator of that building and that platform, had knowingly given access to people with documented violent histories, Cannon's gang affiliations and pending federal RICO charges chief among them, without taking any steps to secure the premises or protect the people coming through it. The suit sought unspecified damages covering medical bills, lost wages, and the stolen property. Some outlets reported a $50 million figure, though legal documents available at the time of reporting did not confirm that amount. As of March 2026, no settlement or trial verdict had been made public. What made the lawsuit significant beyond the dollar figure was the question it raised about accountability in the podcast space. The filing was, in effect, arguing that a media platform bears responsibility for what happens in its orbit, that inviting dangerous people onto a set, profiting from the content they generate, and doing nothing to manage the risk of their presence is a form of negligence. That argument had implications far beyond No Jumper. Across hip-hop media, podcasts, and interview platforms had built audiences on the back of guests whose lives carried real-world danger into the room. The question of where entertainment ended and liability began had never been formally answered. Reed's lawsuit was one attempt to make someone answer it. Adam22's response to the lawsuit lawsuit was dismissive publicly and defensive privately. He had stated before the filing that the victims were gang members, unlikely to involve law enforcement. Once the filing arrived, that framing became harder to maintain. The lawsuit was not the street. It was a federal civil complaint with Adam22's legal name on it. The lawsuit arrived in the same year that the larger legal world around No Jumper was already closing in. In March 2025, federal investigators had visited Adam22's home as part of the Big U RICO indictment, a 107-page filing that described Eugene Big U Henley's alleged mafia-like organization and mentioned No Jumper by name. The studio was not charged, but the mention alone was enough to ignite another cycle of speculation. Wack 100, who has documented ties to Big U, took the opportunity to go on air and claim Adam22 had been picked up by the FBI. Adam22 denied this directly and immediately, calling the claim all caps and explaining that agents had visited his home to ask about his connection to Big U rather than to arrest him. He then turned the tables on Wack, asking publicly why, given Wack's closer ties to Big U, the feds hadn't come for him instead. That exchange, Adam accusing Wack of either being compromised or worse, aired live on No Jumper in front of their shared audience. It was one of the more remarkable moments in a saga full of remarkable moments. Two men who had built their public profiles together, now publicly questioning each other's relationships with federal investigators. The hot new hip-hop coverage from March 31st, 2025 captured the tone of that confrontation. Adam pressing Wack to explain himself, Wack insisting his dealings were legitimate business, and neither man resolving anything on camera. The audience watched all of it. Loose Cannon's incarceration, he was already facing federal charges before the December 2024 fight, complicated the lawsuit further. With the man identified as the primary attacker behind bars, the legal and reputational weight of the incident shifted toward the people still in public life. Adam22 and Wack 100. The arguments, the fallout, and the fights. The public relationship between Adam22 and Wack 100 after the footage emerged was less a partnership and more a slow-motion confrontation conducted across every available platform: podcasts, social media posts, X threads, and reaction videos watched by millions. The first major public crack came in the immediate aftermath of December 2024. Wack posted a video calling Adam out for having his publicist contact Wack about a show rather than speaking to him directly. The message was explicit, that sending a third party was disrespectful, that their contract existed for a reason, and that the lawsuit threat from Reed had not changed who Wack was or what he expected from a business partner. Adam22's January 2025 hot new hip-hop interview pulled the confrontation back indoors, literally, the two of them back on the No Jumper set, discussing the fight that had happened outside their studio. Adam pressed Wack on his lack of remorse. Wack held his position. The episode was released under the title Explosive Argument. Adam and Wack discussed the great No Jumper brawl of 2024, which tells you everything about how both men understood the commercial value of the tension between them. By July 2025, those tensions had escalated into what viewers described as the worst argument the show had produced. The episode, Adam and Wack's Worst Argument Yet, This Might Be Our Last Episode, centered on a figure referred to as Stan G and the question of what was and wasn't acceptable to discuss on air. Wack objected to Adam bringing up people with personal connections to women in Wack's life. Adam pushed back. Portions of the recording were edited out at Wack's demand before publication. The version that went online still drew millions of views. In a March 2026 exchange, the dynamic shifted again, this time into accusations of racial double standards. Adam accused Wack of making everything racial when discussing black artists and controversies, while being unwilling to apply the same scrutiny to white figures. Wack pointed out specific cases he felt Adam had handled inconsistently. The argument was circular, the kind that doesn't end because neither side is actually wrong. They just have different frameworks for the same set of facts. Running alongside all of this was Adam22's boxing career, which in January 2026 produced what became one of the most shared clips in his public life, a first-round knockout loss to Jason Love. The fight lasted approximately 30 seconds. The internet had a field day, and the line the reaction video transcript captured, that Adam22 had now both let the man sleep with his wife and lost to the man who slept with his wife, became the dominant framing of the clip. Wack 100 was visible and vocal in the aftermath of the loss. In reaction Spaces, commentators pulled in his pay attention clip from January 2026 as evidence that Wack had seen the loss coming and framed it as something Adam had brought on himself. The fight, for those following both stories, felt like a continuation of the parking lot footage by other means. Another public embarrassment with Adam22's name on it, generating views for everyone in the orbit. The transcript from the reaction video that circulated alongside the footage resurrected captured the way commentators were weaving the boxing loss and the parking lot footage together. In that video, Adam22 and Wack 100 are on screen discussing a potential new fight between Adam and a man called 4 Extra.
Got a call last night, late last night, woke up. Baby running 4 extras.
What about him?
Wack 100 was already in the role of matchmaker and agent of chaos, the same role he had occupied in people's minds in the parking lot months before.
Telling me what type of money they wanted, what they'd take.
$200,000, and they want to do it in Vegas.
The money being discussed, the location being negotiated. The reactor's point was that this was the same energy, chaos brokered at a distance, with Wack at the center of it. By early 2026, Adam22 had publicly questioned the legitimacy of Wack's business ventures, calling his diaper company fake and framing himself as a spokesperson for the audience's skepticism. Wack, in turn, denied rumors that he had been fired from No Jumper. The back and forth had become its own content loop. The show, the argument about the show, the coverage of the argument, the reaction to the coverage, and back again. The bigger picture. The footage from outside No Jumper's studio in December 2024 was not the first time violence had touched hip-hop media, and no one who watched it expected it to be the last. But the way it traveled, from a grainy clip on Reddit to a lawsuit, a federal investigation, a boxing match, and 18 months of content, says something specific about where hip-hop media is right now and what it costs to operate inside it. The virality of the footage in its first cycle depended almost entirely on mistaken identity. People shared it because they thought they were watching Wack 100 get beaten. When that turned out to be wrong, the correction generated its own wave of traffic. The algorithm treated the clarification as a new event, which, in terms of views, it was. That dynamic, a mistake becoming a story, the correction becoming more content, the chaos itself becoming the product, is the engine that platforms like No Jumper run on. It is not an accident. The willingness to sit with dangerous, unpredictable people and record what happens has always been Adam22's value proposition. The December 2024 footage was, in a specific and uncomfortable way, exactly what the platform had been built for. The lawsuit challenged that logic directly. If Reed's negligence argument succeeded, it would establish that hosting violent people for content carries a legal obligation to manage the risk of that violence. The implications for every interview-based platform operating in spaces where legal and illegal worlds intersect would be significant. The cultural conversation around the footage was just as pointed. Critics pointed to the stripping of Reed as a specific act of degradation, not just violence, but humiliation designed to signal dominance and send a message. That dimension of the footage drew commentary from people outside hip-hop entirely, framing it as evidence of a toxic masculinity that the genre does not sufficiently challenge. Inside hip-hop, the debate was more granular. Some of the reaction video discussion captured in the transcript centered not on whether the violence was wrong, but on whether Adam22 had earned the position he occupied, whether someone outside the culture had built a business on that culture's conflicts without taking on any of its costs. That argument has followed Adam22 for years, but the December 2024 footage and the 2025 lawsuit gave it a concrete example to point to. Wack 100's position in the aftermath of all of this is worth examining separately. His street credibility, if anything, was reinforced rather than damaged by the footage and its aftermath. The people who respect what he represents saw his response to Reed as proportionate. The people who were already skeptical of him saw the footage as confirmation of everything they suspected. What the 2026 resurgence of the footage added was not new facts, but new angles, literally, in the form of the surveillance clips. And a new context, the Wack 100 clip from January 2026, in which he appeared to position Adam22's boxing loss as the logical conclusion of a series of choices Adam had made. Whether or not Wack intended that reading, it is the reading that stuck in the spaces where both men's audiences overlapped. The transcript conversation about a potential fight between Adam22 and 4 Extra drew a sharp reaction from the commentator covering it. The question being asked in that clip about what kind of person pursues a fight under those terms was the same question the internet had been asking about everyone in this story since December 2024, whether it was the parking lot footage, the lawsuit, the federal investigation, or the boxing ring. Every chapter of this story ended up asking the same thing about the people in it. What are you actually willing to be held accountable for? As of March 2026, the Reed lawsuit remains unresolved. Loose Cannon's federal case continues. The Big U RICO indictment remains active. No Jumper is still producing content. Wack100 and Adam22 are still, by all available evidence, in each other's orbit, arguing, co-hosting, and generating views from the friction between them. The title of this video asks about new fight footage of Adam22 and Wack100 going viral. Here's what the footage actually shows. It is not the two of them fighting each other. The footage shows what happened to a man who showed up at a studio in Burbank looking for a confrontation with people who were very willing to give him one. The viral moment was built on a misidentification. The lawsuit, the federal exposure, and the 18 months of fallout were very real. What the footage revealed, more than any fight between Adam22 and Wack100 ever could, is the cost of building a platform on the edge of where entertainment and danger meet, and what happens when someone finally falls off it. Thanks for watching. Check out other cards on the screen.